The secret of happiness is worshiping God everywhere, in everything.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Let's begin our satsang today with a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, beloved Master Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. We ask thy blessings on our lives as we open ourselves. Help us to deepen our meditations. Help us to uplift our consciousness that we might find thee. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let's hear Swamiji and then we'll go, we have a song and Swamiji, then we'll go into our class.
Where he dwells, the earth in gladness puts forth sweet herbs, shading trees. Where he dwells, the earth in gladness puts forth sweet herbs, shading trees. A stream's bound through summer meadows, fragrance blows on every breeze. Gay streams bound through summer meadows, fragrance blows on every breeze. They with happiness are blessed, who the Lord have made their guest. Who the Lord have made their guest. Where he dwells, the earth in gladness puts forth sweet herbs, shading trees. Today I want to talk a little bit about meditation, and I have three sayings of my gurus that just a part of conversations he talked a lot about meditation, but these were three little snippets, you might say, that I wrote down. And meditation, many people say, well, what do you do in meditation? Well, the point is you get yourself out of the way so the higher being, the higher consciousness can act through you, can infuse you with itself. So what you need to do in meditation is not think, but not think. That is to say, you're not supposed to blank your mind out, but to be so one-pointed that you're totally absorbed. It's sort of like watching a beautiful sunset. Somebody who is restless will think of the sunset, and if he's a painter, he may think, well, I think I could do that well. I'll have to see the blues should be balanced with the yellows and so on. Somebody who's hungry might look at the sunset and think, oh, I'm so hungry, and that yellow reminds me of a scrambled egg or something. The true absorption in the beauty of a sunset requires that you suspend thought. And it doesn't mean that you're not conscious. You're totally and wholly absorbed in that simple sense of beauty. And so also with meditation, you should be completely absorbed, but by no means unconscious. In fact, you become much more conscious. In deep concentration, there comes a point where the mind becomes still, but it is so aware that thoughts become trivial and unnecessary and, to put a fine nib on it, impossible. You can't think because your mind is so held in that state. Now that's a part of what meditation is. Meditation is receiving a higher thing. You cannot create that higher consciousness. You have to become open to it.
Good morning again, friends. It's a joy to greet you again today. And on this topic of how to lengthen and deepen our meditation, so important. There's so many wonderful points. I'll try to cover some of them today. But we must remember, I was thinking of a story of Swamiji when he first came to Master and he was beginning meditator. And he said, "Sir, I'm trying everything. I'm doing this, I'm energizing, I'm doing all these things, but I'm not getting anywhere. Am I not trying hard enough?" And Master said, "You're trying too hard." So we have to remember the principle of energization: tense with will, relax and feel. So meditation has to be a balance between doing and being, the science and the art of it, the techniques and sitting in the stillness and in the silence. And if you get either of those wrong, then you don't really have the possibility of going deep in meditation. And we also must remember the story with Swamiji where Master told him he's just way too intellectual, that he needed to develop devotion to be able to go deeper, to be able to find God. And so Swamiji got a harmonium, he began chanting, he prayed for devotion. He needed to open himself up, as he was saying just now on this talk. So there are many wonderful thoughts to keep in mind about meditation, how to deepen it. There needs to be receptivity and openness, not force. There needs to be a sense of self-offering. There needs to be a feeling of joyful expectation, that you come to your meditation with joy, not thinking, well, when is it going to ever happen? When will I find joy? And knowing, a feeling of knowing that the light is there, that the Om is there, that God and the masters are all around you, that you just need to open that door more and more with each meditation, and you begin to feel that more and more with you. And so I want to go over a few points on deepening and lengthening one's meditation. And I want to start with before the meditation, then during the meditation, and then after the meditation. So the first thing about before, of course, you would know, you need to prepare yourself, prepare your body, then prepare your mind. Preparing the body through exercise, regular exercise, really helps your meditation. There's no joke about it. Going outside, walking, running, whatever you're able to do. And of course, energization, daily, at least once, yoga postures. All of these will help to you be able to dump the body when you meditate. Also, mental preparation. Watch your mental diet. What are you watching on television? What are you reading? What thoughts are in your mind when you go into your meditation room? Be careful about that because those will affect your meditation as well. And then other things about before the place where you meditate, it should be beautiful, uplifting, clean. There should be a good airflow. The lighting should be proper. The altar is prepared. Beautiful, maybe flowers, maybe candles. You have to decide that, but it should be so magnetic that it draws you in to that space and you want to be there. And so the space and where you sit is important, how you sit is important. All of this is before you actually begin to meditate. So sitting on a silk wool asana, as we know, posture is straight, the back spine is straight. One of the cross leg positions are fine if you can do those. If not, sit on a chair, sit on a bench, kneeling bench, but sit in a position where you can be still and don't feel like, oh, my back hurts or my knees hurt or whatever. And so before you meditate, all of these things are going to become very important. One last thing on this is quiet. It needs to be quiet when you meditate. And I don't just mean sound, I mean vibrationally. So, I've said this many times, get up earlier or stay up later, whichever works for you. But the vibrations of the people around you, the neighbors, the people across the street, the people in your house, the vibrations of the TV going on in the next room and the blasting music going on in the next room, all of these things are affecting your meditation. And we might think that earplugs are going to do it all for us, but they just don't. Honestly, if you can just go to bed earlier so you can get up earlier. There's just this wonderful time in the day where it's so quiet. People are asleep. There's no restless or less restless thoughts around you, and you can really slip into meditation much easier. I say 100% easier rather than think about 9 o'clock in the morning, everybody's getting ready for work or they're driving and there's all the traffic and there's people getting ready and all that. It just is harder. So this is on how to deepen and lengthen the meditation. So one thing is just inch your time up, or if you're a late night person, stay up a little later and meditate later. But there's the golden hour, I like to call it, where it's just so easy. I'm going to use that word, easy, to meditate. And otherwise, you're just going to have a harder time. It's easy to go deeper, and the length just goes. You just want to stay in there for a long time. When I've been in seclusions in different places that I've gone to, I would get up very early and meditate for many hours. And I didn't even realize the time because it's just away from the city, away from the people, away from the phone, away from the computer. And then the time just goes by. And it's just a wonderful feeling. So try that. Now, getting to the meditation itself, that was before. Now, during the meditation, what to do? Well, one thing, I think a lot of people force themselves. I've got to sit here and don't want to be here and I want to get up. And they're just, well, the preparation will help you to have more joy in the meditation and feel more relaxed, more open. But there are a few other things that you can do. Pranayama, of course. Of course, you can do that before you even sit down to meditate along with your yoga, but also you can do it just before. The double breath, I'm learning to really appreciate that. The double breathing when you tense the body and then you relax. And that is just so beneficial to relax the tensions of the body and of the mind. So you might do that. Um, and then the thing is, don't do so many techniques that's all you're doing. And then you have 5 minutes and you get up and run off. that's not meditating. At least a quarter of the time should be sitting in the silence. I'll get to that in the after part. But don't feel like, okay, I got to do this technique, that technique, that technique. Just you have the whole lifetime to work it out. So don't feel like you have to do everything every day. You can do maybe begin a little bit with Hong Sa and then go into the Kriyas. And maybe the next day you do, maybe that evening you do the Om technique and fewer Kriyas. You have to figure it out for yourself. And then maybe the next day you do less Kriya, you do more Hong Sa. It really is according to the feeling. If you're very restless, you're going to need more Hong Sa. I meditate starting off most days with the Om technique because I just feel like I just want to go deep right away. I just cancel everything out. I'm going inside and that's it. And besides that, speaking of that, for the quiet part, you can have earplugs, you can have headphones, you can have a cover over the eyes as well. I mean, you want to just go in and not have some, okay, you're seeing things pass by you, outside of you, or you're hearing the birds outside. You want to cancel that out. So as much as you can, close off. And as you're beginning your meditation. So pranayama, um, having the various things that help you to go inside are very, very helpful. Starting with a technique that's really going to calm you down, or Swamiji said, if you're not restless, you can begin your Kriya right away for those who are Kriya bonds. Uh, and then you can get more Kriya in if you start right away. That's up to you. How many to do? We'll go into that in Kriya Bond review, Kriya Bond meditation. But um, do the techniques according to the feeling that you have for that day and the need that you have, and go into it with energy and with joy. I've written notes down so I can make sure I cover everything. Yeah. Another part is to remember that you can't just keep forcing. There has to be a time where there's a relaxation. So uh, in anything that you do, if you're imbalanced, then you're going to just be, is too much will, is too much force, and you won't be able to do it properly. So in your meditation, you can add things. If you start getting restless, or before your meditation, do a chant, read something. um, you want to open yourself up. I mean, you can't just say, I'm going to force myself into heaven. You want to open yourself up, and then you can just easily slip into deeper and deeper levels of super consciousness. You can go more and more into the spiritual eye. And by the way, try that. Don't say, oh no, it'll never happen to me. Well, it is happening. It's happening to a lot of people. And so really try to see the light at the spiritual eye. If you don't see the light, feel the vibration there. And that's the forerunner of seeing the light. And then in your meditation, don't be passive. Don't be excited and tense, but don't be passive. I'm just sitting here and feel that I'm moving toward the joy. I'm moving towards the Om. I'm moving into the light. I'm moving into stillness. And then it shouldn't be a passive thing. And in Kriya, I'm moving deeper and deeper, every Kriya in the spine, and moving that energy up to the spiritual eye. Finally, afterwards, I've gone into this a little bit, but really, meditation is after the techniques. I mean, it's a little bit with the techniques, but pure meditation is after the techniques. And so don't get up and run away. Master said it's like cooking a meal and then you don't eat it, you just run off. Just sit as long as you can, and with energy and uplifted. Don't sleep there and think, well, I've slept for a half hour, now I can get up. That's nothing. But as you deepen the meditation, that time of sitting will lengthen. And that's a wonderful feeling. You just don't want to get up. It gets longer and longer. And if it's early morning or late night, you certainly don't want to get up. It's dark out. You're feeling closed. You feel inside. And then just lengthen that time. a quarter of the time of your meditation, at least 15 minutes. But as you go deeper, it goes into 20 minutes, 30 minutes, longer, longer. And what do? You just bathe yourself in the feeling that you have, or in the light, or in the om, or peace, stillness, uh, that complete fulfillment in yourself. And then afterwards, or in between, you have to figure this out. But I have a tanpura that I play in my meditation room. Typically at the end, I have a gong that I play. I have a harmonium. You all have to decide, but I just find that music just helps me to just get on that big wave and just go much further out than I would without it. And it calms you down and opens your heart. You can, if you don't want to sing, you don't have an instrument, play Swamiji's music or master chanting or Swamiji chanting. That will lengthen your meditation for sure, because the music just, it's another dimension of your mind, and it just opens you up, really opens your heart up. And then you just feel, oh, this is so wonderful. I don't ever want to leave it. And so then you can read something inspiring at the end, do prayers, healing prayers. Uh, the thing you want not to do is just run off. You want to just bathe in what the vibration is that you have felt in your meditation. So now we have a few questions that I'll try to answer. I've asked Natindra to join me here.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. We do have a few questions, and if people want, they can ask questions in the chat as well. The first question, Dhyanaji, we have is, I'm so restless that I can't sit long after the techniques. I want to jump up and leave the meditation soon after. What should I do?
Yeah, I think I just kind of answered that one. But here's the thing: don't force yourself to sit there. I have a toolbox, and I don't have a it's a virtual toolbox, but I have at least my everything, all the techniques are there, the music is there, the whispers from eternity, metaphysical meditations, all the instruments I mentioned, uh, prayers for other people. That's it's all there, and I use those to be able to go more into stillness, into God consciousness, into the silence, going within. So you have to create that and say, no, it's not just sitting there and hoping and looking at my watch. It's like, okay, all these things I can do to get me more deep, to get me more quiet, to help me to lengthen my meditation, to help me to deepen. And I would say there's at least 10 things in that toolbox, and you just pull them out as you need them. And as you do one, you feel like, oh God, what was I thinking about leaving? And then the next one, you listen to a chant, you say, oh God, I'm never going to leave this seat. So you have to put out energy to create that box first, a toolbox, so to speak. But then once you have it, and have things in your meditation room, have a couple of the books, have a music, a speaker in there, and something you can play the music from. Have, you can, another thing is looking at the pictures of the gurus. I mean, there's so many wonderful things. Talking to Babaji, talking to Master, tell them about your day that happened yesterday, what's going to happen today. Go into devotion, and you will find that just a little trying, it's like the door is cracked already from meditation, and you can just close it back, or you can go through the door. Go through the door with one of these things, and you'll find, wow, the door was only cracked. Now I'm inside the room. And then when you get inside the room, you don't want to leave anymore. So just keep at it. And patience is very important. You can't just keep saying, I'm not getting anywhere. What's happening to me? And everybody else is having something happen, and I'm nothing. And it doesn't help you at all. So just be happy, be grateful. We have techniques, we have teachings, we have guru bhais, we have the gurus, we have Ananda, we have wonderful online happenings all the time. And my goodness, what else can a person want? but we need time. That's what's needed. Time. The other one is patience. So work with that. Okay, the next question.
Energy next is, I am not going deep. How can I deepen my meditation?
Okay, I kind of answered that as well, but it's so individual. It's like if you had 3 children, they're not all the same. One needs more discipline, one needs more fun things to do, one needs to eat less. Everybody's different, and every day is different, and our karma's different every day. And so what I see people doing is just trying to ram my way through. It's just not going to work, or they're so lax that nothing happens. So we need to find a middle ground that um, every day, as you go into meditation, just feel what's happening today. Of course, you have a framework that you're working with, a foundation. But what should I do more today? How can I deepen today? Not how can I deepen? Period. How can I deepen today? And it might be that you do Navi Kriya, or you do chanting Om at the chakras, or tense and relaxing at the chakras, or you might do Om longer. I mean, there's so many things Master gave. He said, if you did 1/100th of what I've given, you can find God. And so I think the more thing is, here's the point. We have such a wonderful variety of things that Master gave. I think people they stagnate and they get bored and they just do the same thing every day. There's no joy in that. There's nothing different. It's not fresh. It's not new. Now, of course, you have to have the right base, but I do the same thing. It's like having the same meal every day. Who would want to do that? And so add a little bit of sugar to it. In India, add a little bit of a spice to it, but make sure that it's fresh, it's alive. You go in there and there's a wonderful feeling, and you will find that anybody, if you have a friend and you go to see them, and every time you see them, they're the same boring person, you stop going there. You want somebody who's, got energy, Shakti, who's alive. So go into your meditation room with that feeling, and things will begin to change and deepen. The next question.
Thank you. Yeah, Dhyanaji. The next is a live question. It says, my legs start feeling numb after sitting for 20-25 minutes. How can I overcome that?
Okay, there's 2 things. One, before you get to the meditation room, make sure you energize. Do more of the walking and running in place. That will really help you. If you do yoga postures, do postures for the legs. I mean, these are basic things. Then if this still doesn't work and you're sitting and your legs get numb, I don't know what position you're in, but if you're in Padmasana, they surely will start getting numb. If you're in Ardha Padmasana, likely. So you can change the position of your legs and get them comfortable. So there's many positions. There's ones I named. There's Siddhasana. There's the perfect pose. What do I want to say? Sukhasana is the one I want to say. They're sitting in a chair. So like we're coming up upon the 8-hour Christmas meditation now. Who is going to be able to sit in the same position for 8 hours? I won't. It's just too difficult. So adjust the body as needed, and you'll find that I'm not going to say it's going to go away on its own. You just have to work the legs more and adjust the body when you meditate and see what happens.
There's another live question, Dhyanaji. What techniques can we use if we feel a little sleepy during doing Kriya?
Wow, that's a good question. Now, this is what Master said. Open the eyes wide, close them. Open, close, open, close. Now, I'm not going to do that on the screen because it's going to look weird. But you get the point. Open, close, open, close. And what is that doing? It's energizing your eyes. What a great practice. Another one is that this can go either way. I've seen it go myself either way too. But bring your head down. If you're sitting on the floor, cross-legged, or even on a chair, just bring your head down to your knees. And just let the blood come to the head. And that creates more energy in the brain. Now, as I say, sometimes it can go the other way. Sometimes you don't come up for 20 minutes because you fell asleep down there. But typically it will work. So doing the eye exercise and then bringing the head down. And then another one, double breathing with tension. Do 6 times. Do it until you feel like, okay, I'm awake. And if you really want to meditate and you're still sleepy, like you're only halfway through your meditation, what I would do is get up and walk in place and run, and then sit back down. So you have to get your body, you're in charge. You got to be the master of the body. Don't let it keep falling asleep on you. Remember what Swamiji did? He kept falling asleep. It's in the Raja Yoga lessons, I think. And then he said, no, you're going to stay up all night then. And he drank coffee all night. And then he meditated. And then the next night, his body was perfectly fine. It did not fall asleep, and he didn't have the coffee. So you have to get in charge of it. So next one.
Sure, Dhanaji. We have 2 more questions if we have the time. First is, will I ever be able to sit without any thoughts when I meditate? It seems so hopeless sometimes. Am I making any real progress?
Yeah, that's hard. What I've seen, honestly, is the thoughts, there's less thoughts, and they recede into the background. Once you start going deeper, the experience is in the foreground, and the thoughts, they're still back there grumbling, but they're back there, and they get further and further back. And it's like now I can hear the AC over here, but I'm not focused on it. I'm focused on this. It's still there. So the thoughts just go back further and further until you go into deep meditation, into ecstasy or samadhi. There's no thoughts then. Spotless is my mental sky. Remember, Master said above, below, and all of that. And so I think that at our phase, our stage, the thoughts are back there, but they don't bother you nearly as much. So keep trying that. Here's a good example of that is a glass of water with soil in it. And if you just have that and a little bit of water, it's just dirty water in a glass. And that's, our thoughts are kind of like that in the mind at the beginning of the meditation. But if you take another glass that's full of clean water and you just keep pouring, keep pouring, keep pouring, that's what meditation is. I keep pouring in light, pouring in bliss, pouring in energy. What happens to that dirty water? If I keep pouring, it becomes clean. And so, but all along the way, it's not so clean, but it's cleaner. Then it's cleaner. There's less thoughts, there's less thoughts, there's less, and then there's no thoughts. So that's the way we have to look at it. Don't be discouraged. Last one.
Thank you, Dhanaji. Yeah, this is again a live question based on what you answered. So when I sit after techniques, automatically thoughts start coming in. Is it a good idea to do japa?
That's a good idea. Why not? Yeah. That prayer, that should be in the toolbox. Yeah, prayer, talking to the masters, talking to Babaji, talking to Master. I mean, this is so beautiful. And to take the name of God, I am a phrase like, I am thine, be thou mine. I love thee, Lord. Oh, that's so beautiful. Anything that's as opening up for the heart, cleansing, purifying, and uplifting. Those are very, very positive things to do. Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Dhanaji. These were the only questions we have.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. Bye-bye.